Really important question today. How much should you save for retirement? Like, what is the real math? What's the real number? What are you going to need to retire? I'm glad you're asking because not a lot of people actually even care to think about it. But the reality is there is some science to this, and that's what we're going to break down for you today. How much money do I need for retirement? I don't know, right? I mean,
how much money?
How could I really know? It's your business, not mine.
So, how much money do you need for retirement? This is what we're talking about, and this is a personal question. You're gonna have a personal answer. It's gonna be different for everybody. But I think more importantly than how much do I need, I want you to get focused on what exactly is it that you want in retirement. Forget retirement. Let's go back to what we had talked about before. Fulfillment. What will create fulfillment for you? So again, let's get away from the word retirement and let's just start using fulfillment for a moment.
Yeah.
What do you need to feel fulfilled?
Because this is the world that we live in today. We live in an accumulation mindset.
We do.
Everything in society and raised up is go to college, get good grades, get a degree, then work for somebody else, save, 401k it. And what we're doing is we believe that we can save ourselves to freedom. Well, just for a moment, let's actually go with your math. Let's actually say that you get a good job, you're making more than the national average. Let's say instead of $44,000 a year, you and your spouse are working, maybe you've got a combined income of $80,000 a year, and you're setting money aside in a 401k, an IRA, you got a plan to pay off the house. Oh, I'm getting my match.
Getting your match?
Yeah, so I'm doing everything right according to society.
Okay.
Let's fast forward 10 years. Pit stop. My 401k has accumulated a little bit of money. I'm feeling good about it because I got something in there. I've been paying down my house that I bought, right? Because after 10 years, I'm now done paying the front-loaded interest, and now I'm starting to pay down more on a more heavy basis my interest. I'm paying down some of my vehicles. Okay, 10 more years, driving, pit stop. We're 20 years in, right? 20 years in, you got more money in your 401k, you got more of your house paid down. Good. Yeah, debt's going away.
Oh, wait a second. Your daughter just got married.
Yeah, we picked up some more debt. But don't worry, we got time. We'll pay it off.
But how are you going to pay for the wedding?
Well, probably with the car that we just bought her for her schooling and stuff. I don't know yet. Let's just, you know what? Time will solve this. This plan has been taught to us. Well, it will prevail.
I'll tell you what, let's refinance our house.
Yeah, we should refinance
so we can pull out some money.
Yeah, agreed.
Pay for the wedding.
Yeah, then we'll just be
great.
But don't worry, we got time. Okay, 10 more years. 10 more years left. We're 30 years into our plan.
30 years down.
My 401k is actually, you know, I just passed $100,000 in my 401k. Been putting some money aside in there, right? And then all of a sudden my house, I had to refinance it along the way one more time, but you know, we still have $100,000 of equity.
Okay, wow.
And now how am I feeling? I'm starting to feel a little desperate. I'm starting to feel like, okay, wow, I'm on the other side of the fence. I've been following society's plan.
30 years into it.
And it's not very much money when I'm being honest. I don't really want to look at that, but it's not everything that I was hoping that it might be. That's okay. You know what?
Let's keep going.
Let's go. Let's go.
We're still saving. We're still saving. We're going to keep on saving.
10 more years goes.
4
years down the road, and all of a sudden pit stop, and it's like, how are we feeling? Ah! Panic, right? It's all studying, and it's like, I don't got enough money. I got laid off once. I picked up another job. They're telling me I'm too old. I'm not marketable. I got these wrinkles I can't go away. And then more weddings. And at the end of the day, a divorce down the road. And it's like, crap, I followed the plan and actually thought I was executing it quite well. Let's just say, though, that in all of that accumulation, you have $300,000. You've got your house. Let's say your house.
Let's say it's paid off.
Let's say it's paid off.
Paid off.
Your $250,000 house paid off. Let's say you've got $250,000 in 401k. No one does, but let's just say you do. Okay. You got a house paid off. You got $250,000 401k.
Done well.
You even put $50,000 in an IRA.
Sure.
So we've got a $500,000 net worth. We got $500,000. I worked for 40 years. I accumulated, and the reality is that I live off of $70,000 a year. Okay. So if I have $500,000, now that I've spent 40 years building it, how many years will it take for me to decimate it, annihilate it, destroy it, reduce it to rubble?
7 or 8?
7 or 8 years from now, guess what? A lifetime is gone. And this is what Stephen and I are asking. Is that a good plan if you know it can't work?
I want to talk about this in terms of a quick just analogy. Building a home. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever built a home, but this is what we're talking about. You're building your financial home, and this is that kind of accumulation mindset. So just stay with me for a moment. You start with this foundation. You build it, then you frame up the home, then you put the systems in the home, you put the exterior in the home, you put the roof on the home, and you're building. Once you completed your home, would it ever make sense to you to then, in retirement, right, in this fulfillment time, to start taking apart that home, board by board, brick by brick.
Let's start with the roof.
Until there was no more home left. Like, does that ever make sense? And the answer that I have for me is no, that makes absolutely no sense. The reality is we are all doing this financially. We build this financial home only in accumulating, only to then disperse it, spend it, put it out there, and to take it back down to nothing at the end. So, do we want to accumulate in retirement?
The reality is that if you're stuck in the accumulation mindset, let's actually talk about the very few that become super successful with accumulation. I've met people that have set $1 million aside or even $1.5 million, and to get there, they were financially petrified, terrified, and scared. Man. They're living in scarcity. They're living on breadcrumbs. They're cheap as church mice. And who they've become in the process of trying to accumulate. There is this humbug, and there is an energy of negativity, and it's because they've done the math and they know the reality. Yeah. It's like, I don't know when I'm going to die. I don't know when my D-Day is. And so I got to make sure that I'm prepared for that. Maybe leave something for my children. So here's what we're going to say. If you have this accumulation plan through a job and you think you can accumulate $1 million, maybe $2 million, you can definitely put a basic life together. Why? Because $1 million in retirement sitting in an annuity at 4% is going to give you about $40,000. So if you get $2 million, $80,000. You would need $2 million to replace your lifestyle of $8,000. And we're not even talking about putting inflation, which is eating at your money 3% a year into account. So when you start doing the math, it's like, for the average person in this country, the average household income, they do need $2 million. That's the number that they need. But how far will they fall short? Not by half. They won't even get a quarter of it. Most of them are going to get between 5 and 15% of what is needed with the accumulation mentality. Yeah. So we need something different. We need a really, really big upgrade. And today we're going to talk about something that generates real freedom way sooner, way quicker. Instead of how much can you accumulate, it's how much residual income can you establish.
So again, the question is, how much do you need to retire? How much do you need for retirement? And instead of getting to that accumulated number, that end-all be-all number, like you said, the reality is how much do you need on a monthly basis? What do you need to sustain and to keep your lifestyle?
And don't forget the fulfillment and the dreams,
and the fulfillment and the
kiddie parties and the grandkids.
Absolutely, right? What do you need to grow into a retirement or to a fulfilled life today and tomorrow? What can you do also to pass that down? I want to talk about this because I think this is important here. It's not just about that retirement number, but a lot of people in retirement want to help their kids.
Generational wealth.
Want to help their grandkids, right? And so how do you build that proper legacy? And one of the reasons why Kris and I gravitate to real estate so much is because real estate is that thing that can do that. It's not about accumulating all this money. It's about getting real estate that works for you, that's paying you on a monthly basis. So we had a scenario that we were talking about earlier, right? If you had a choice and I was going to give you either $1 million on one hand or allow you to earn $10,000 a month for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
Well, I know that there's a lot of people who would say, I want to be a millionaire so flippin' bad. But the reality is that the $10,000 a month every month for the rest of your life, not only does that represent 12-14% return on your money, but more importantly, it's the fact that if you can create a lifestyle that fits inside of your residual, you're set. I was just talking to the Gradens. These are a couple of our clients. They've been with us now for, I think, maybe 6 years. They're now working on their 9th house, I think it is. They've got several $1,000s a month in residual income, $4,000 or $5,000. And I don't know what their retirement goals are, but what I do know is that they've got a wealth building plan that started out very small. Bought a property, $300 a month cash flow. Bought another property, $750 of combined cash flow. And when I retired the first time, it came down to what's my no matter what residual income. And real estate can produce that predictably. You can also insulate it from market crashes because winter will come, it always does. We're in suspended fall animation right now. And so the good news for you is, instead of trying to dream up a $2 million number or a $5 million or a $1 million number, instead you just got to ask, what is it that I need every month to sustain my lifestyle? And then how do I invest in assets that produce that? And friends, that is the secret to arriving at your number. What you've got to ask yourself, and then I want to give you a bonus. I want to invite you to ask yourself right now, how much do you want every month, automatic as a minimum, coming in? And that's going to help you figure your math out. If it's $6,000 a month, and if that represents paying all of your bills and then having a little bit of travel on this, or maybe it's $15,000 a month, whatever the number is, that's the number for you to focus on. And you got to start translating your big dollars into residuals. Now here's the bonus that I want to share with you. If you want to know the most important financial decision you will ever make in your life, because you're about to make it, the singular most important. Okay, this is no hyperbole, this is a really big superlative.
I'm excited for this.
The single biggest, most important financial decision that you could ever make comes down to one thing. How much money are you going to take religiously out of every check that is set aside for building that residual income? For some of you, it might be 10%, it might be 5%, it might be 20%. You see, we live in a world, part of this accumulation mindset, and part of the way so many of us even get to check is because we actually don't pay ourselves. We're actually paying our bills instead of paying us. And when you pay yourself, you can't pay it off the bottom, because by the time you're done with your bills, guess what?
There's nothing left.
There's nothing left.
Yeah.
So you got to start paying yourself when? This is going to get a little personal for just a second here, but my wife and I, we pay 10% to charity every single year through our church. That's something that's really important to us that we do. But in addition, there's an amount of money of our income that we take every month out as a bill, and we shove it in a place that basically it's not for spending, it's not for touching, it's not for bills, it's what we set aside for our investments. And recently I called my wife up and I said, you know what, I want you to add 10% more of our gross revenue off of that. And at first I didn't explain myself. She's like, why are we doing that? That we're allocating so much money every month to our investments and the things that we're investing in. Why are you wanting another 10%? And I said, because I know that if with every check that goes into our account, if you'll pull 10% more out and put it in that account, we will always magically still find a way to have enough for bills. We always do. There's always going to be enough. So I don't care whether you're check to check behind, if you don't have money. If you right now are totally check to check, I could challenge you right now to take $200 a month and put it away in an account. And you would say, Kris, that's not possible.
Do it.
Take me to the bank on
Yeah.
it. Put that 200 there, make it totally untouchable, make it the first thing that you take out of your check, and then go balance your budget. And I promise you, you will not only find a way, but it is through these simple and small means, through this one most important financial decision, that you start accumulating a little bit. Now, if you understand the power of compound interest, a little bit can you accumulate to finally put into the right investment. And an investment like real estate that's going to grow, listen, if you snapshot in 5 years, you're like, I can't retire on that. Guys, that's a snapshot, that's a blip, that's a moment in time. But if you keep compounding it and you check in 5 years later, it's like,
look at that.
Where did all these houses come from? Oh yeah, I made the most important financial decision of my life and I stuck to it no matter what. And friends, that's how you get the money set aside for your investing. Now, if you wanted to go faster than that, then you would do it with Steven and I through our partnering program. And partnering is where we show you to go and find people that have the money that will invest in our real estate with you, and then we'll go do deals together. So there's always a way to go faster. But if you're not gonna take our lease option course, if you're not gonna join our real estate community, our paid community, if you're not gonna join our Partner Profits program, then at least do this. Make the most important financial decision today, which is decide the percentage of your check that you get that you will automatically pull out and set aside, because through that little means, you can grow that and compound that over 10, 20 years, and you can grow that into a fortune with the residual income that you can retire on. So what's your number? How much do you need for the retirement you want? What do you need for the passive residual income? If you want some help not only calculating it, but getting a real plan that can support all the real estate you need to make that happen, then check out our website. We've got awesome tools and free gifts and reports and more hand-holding that we can offer you to walk you through exactly how to make that happen.